Okay, this is going to be a short one. James is outside doing stuff or working in his shop or whatever. I just got through watching this sermon. I think the pastor's last name is Furlick, Stephen Furlick, something like that. He's a really young guy. And he was telling the story of Jacob and Esau. And he was telling the story, or the facts from the Bible about how Jacob means deceiver. And it also means heel grabber, because he was actually clutching the heel of Esau as he was born second. And he was talking about how we live in a me first world, and that we are born with the mentality of me first. And so even when it came time, to get the blessing, which should have by rights went to Esau because he was the firstborn, Jacob was able to trick him or convince him to give him his birthright for a bowl of beans, because Esau was the hunter, the gruff guy, and Jacob was the one who hung around the tents. Jacob knew how to cook, and he was making some beans, and Esau had been out hunting and he was hungry, and he was like willing to give up his birthright to Jacob for a bowl of beans. And so he did. Now, birthright and blessing that the oldest gets is two different things. And so when it came time for Isaac to give the blessing to Esau, he was blind. He couldn't see anymore. So the mother, knowing that he was getting ready to bless Esau, wanted Jacob to receive the blessing. So she had him put on Esau's clothes and put goat skin on his arms and like on his neck. So Esau was told to go and kill and cook his dad's favorite meal, and then he would get his blessing. And Rebecca heard that, so she told Jacob, here, I'll fix the food your dad likes. You put this stuff on, and you go in and pretend to be Esau so that you can receive the blessing. And when he walked in the room, Isaac, who couldn't see, said, who is it? And Jacob said, it is Esau, your son. And Jacob was like, the voice sounds like Jacob. Come nearer so that I may smell you. Well, being a hunter and being outdoors all the time, I'm sure that Esau was kind of gruff, kind of musky smelling, as, being out there and all that. And so he's like, well, you smell like Esau. And then he felt the goat skin, and he says, well, you feel like my son Esau. So he gave Jacob the blessing. But what he was really doing was he was giving Esau the blessing, even though it was Jacob in sheep's clothing. You've heard that expression, a wolf in sheep's clothing. Well, he was Jacob in Esau clothing. So, even though Jacob had to go on the run because Esau came back about that time and was going to kill his brother for stealing his blessing. And so for 21 years, Jacob was on the run, and, he was struggling within himself, struggling with himself. And he was always me first, me first, me first, and he was always going after what he wants. He wanted Rachel, but he was given Leah. And then eventually he did get Rachel, and he had many kids, and then he knew it was time that he go and face his brother Esau, who he figured was probably going to kill him. But at that moment when they connected, Esau grabbed Jacob and kissed him on the neck, and that showed such great forgiveness. Now, at one part he was talking about when Jacob sent all of his family, his livestock and everything across, and Jacob was alone. He wrestled all night with an angel. And then at one point, the angel touched the hip of Jacob, sorry, and, I guess threw it out of place, and he said, let me go. It is almost daybreak. And Esau said, I'm not going to let you go. Jacob said, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. And basically what was happening there was, even though he thought he had been blessed, it was Esau that got the blessing. And he knew who he was. He knew what he was pretending to be all those years. And so he knew he had a hold of God, and he wasn't going to let him go until he blessed him. And so the angel asked him, what is your name? And it goes back to when Isaac asked, who is it? And he said, it's Esau, your son. But it wasn't. And so when the angel asked him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he says, no longer will your name be Jacob, the deceiver, heel grabber, whatever. Your name will now be Israel. And he was given a new name. And just like when Moses was talking to God, and God said, go and tell them to set my people free, He says, well, when they ask who sent me, what should I say? What is your name? And God told him, I am who I am. Tell him I am the father of their forefathers, the father of Isaac, Abraham, and he didn't say of Israel, the good Israel, the changed Jacob, the new Jacob that was actually regaining himself, because before he gained the world and lost himself, but he has found himself and he's clinging to God, and that is why he's now renamed Israel. But he said he's the God of Jacob, and what he meant by saying that is he is God of the backslider, the sinner, the person that denies God. Anytime we sin, we're denying God. Anyone that just turned their back on God or doesn't believe in Jesus, he's the God of who we try to be. What good is it a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? We have a me first mentality in this world that, we want to be better than the Joneses. We want to have something prettier, something bigger, something larger, something newer. But no matter how much you have, there's someone out there that's going to have as he put it. Now, I'm getting this from this pastor. It's really awesome. And God could have said he was the God of Israel, but he said he was God of Jacob. And that was saying that Jacob received his blessing from God because he finally told him who he was. And he got his blessing from the person that it really counted from, and that was God. And I just, that was, if you want to watch it, it is, his last name is Furlick. I know that. And it's a 5-part series, and the name of it is #DeathToSelfies. And I just watched the first one. I'm getting ready to watch the next 4. But, I mean, it just really hit home because, every day we struggle with trying to have things or be something that we're not. We go to church, we put on our best clothes, we put on our makeup, fix our hair, we look great. As you can see today, I'm in a jersey, no makeup, hair, and a ponytail. This is me. I paint myself up to look my best for God. I'm going to see my daddy, I want to look good. But a lot of us struggle with trying to be something we're not. We may try to preach like that person does because they are successful in what they're doing by preaching that way. So we try to, take some of that upon us and be something we're not. We're trying to be Esau when we're really Jacob. And he can really tell it better. I mean, it's like an hour long, but it is so worth the watch. So if you look him up, the last name is Furlick, but you can just type in #DeathToSelfies. And the name of his sermon, or the name of his message for the first part was, My Name is Jacob. So anyways, I just had to share that because, man, it just really hit home with me, and it just really touched me in a lot of ways. And just like Jacob was given a new name, Israel, and I forgot what he said it meant. That's pretty sad. We were given new names too when we received Jesus. God sees us as righteous. God sees us as covered in the blood. He sees us as co-heirs to the throne of grace. So, we were all given a new name. Anyways, just wanted to share that. God bless.